guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And in this video, we're going to be talking about some teams that we feel had a really good draft overall. Who would like to get us started?
I'll get us started. So I think what we did was we each picked out one team, but I have a few teams I want to talk about. So we'll each talk about one team in specific, then we'll add on to that, and we'll mention the other teams as well. So we'll just start with me, I guess, since we usually go in this direction. I'm going to start with the Dallas Cowboys draft. Didn't have many draft picks, but I think they hit on a lot of them. So I'll just read them all off to you, and I'll read them off and explain to you why it was good. Then you guys can add on to it after. So pick 17 of round 1. CeeDee Lamb still on the board. They could have gone cornerback. Maybe they could have gone safety, but Bikini's still there. But they chose to go the guy who fell to them, CeeDee Lamb, even though they have some great receivers already. I think that was a great pick for them. I think that adding another weapon to that team is huge. That offense is going to be great now. And with CeeDee Lamb still on the board, you take him instead of letting him fall to your NFC East rival, the Eagles. I think it was a great move by the Cowboys to do that. And I think CeeDee is going to fit in well in Dallas. Then you go to round 2. I talked about how they could have gone corner or maybe even defensive safety. Well, a guy that I think is a first-round talent, he fell to them at round 2, and it's Trayvon Diggs. So I think that's another great pick for them. They needed some secondary help after losing Byron Jones in the offseason. Still, that safety position could use some help, but they got some secondary help with that pick. I think Trayvon Diggs was underrated, in my opinion. I could have seen him going in the first round, so I like that pick from them. Then round 3, this is another guy that you could have said fell a little bit. Maybe his stock slipped a bit towards the draft, but it was Neville Gallimore at pick 82 in round 3, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. I think he is a great defensive tackle. They need to beef up that defensive line a little bit. That defense as a whole is probably the thing that needs to be improved on this team. So that's another good pick, and you'll see the defenses trend throughout the rest of this as we go to pick 4, round 4, pick 123. Reggie Robinson, who's a cornerback out of Tulsa. I honestly don't know much about him, but beefing up that secondary, always a good thing. Then round 5, Tyler Biadasz, I think is how you say it, the center out of Wisconsin. I think that he was one of the top-ranked centers, and getting him in the 5th round, that's very good value for him. So another good draft pick. Another guy that I think was really good, also in round 5, this one, 179. It's Bradley Anae. I thought he was great while watching him. I think he fell very, very far in this draft, the defensive end out of Utah. That Utah defense was very good. He was one of the stars on that team. I really liked him. I don't know why he slipped. I don't know if it was something personal, but I think he's going to be a great player. And after losing a defensive end in the offseason, they pick up another one and continue to beef up that defensive line. And then round 7, pick 231, a definitely controversial pick, Ben DiNucci, the quarterback out of James Madison. I couldn't really tell you much about it, and maybe they didn't need a quarterback. Plus, they already got Andy Dalton, but they got him after this. But okay, that's fine. The rest of them were good.
Yeah, and just imagine that Dallas offense, assuming the whole contract thing gets sorted. I got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, that solid offensive line, and then you got Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and now CeeDee Lamb. Like, this is going to be a good unit. The rest of the NFC should watch out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like when you were watching the draft, you would see Mel Kiper's top players that were still there, and almost every time the Cowboys would take one of the players. Which a lot of them did fall, and they took advantage of it, so it's kudos to them.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what's your favorite one?
Well, I personally think that the Minnesota Vikings killed it this draft process. And their first pick, well, they got lucky because, remember when we were watching, the Eagles were on the clock, we saw the footage of Justin Jefferson on the phone, and then the pick is Jalen Reagor, so he was probably just talking to the Vikings already at that point, or maybe someone else, who knows. But, man, this was my 3rd-ranked receiver, and I believe he was the 5th receiver taken. That's crazy. Jefferson, a lot to like about him. Good at getting open, good catch radius. He's going to fit in very well with that offense. That's a steal getting him at that pick without having to trade up. I think he's going to be a day 1 player who makes an instant impact. Love that pick from Minnesota right there. And then they actually were able to trade back to pick 31 because remember the 49ers traded up to get Brandon Ayuk. They got TCU cornerback Jeff Gladney. I think the secondary a need for Minnesota Vikings as well because Xavier Rhodes has started to decline. They cut him, and Trey Waynes left to Cincinnati in free agency. So I like this pick, a good value pick. Late in the first round, Gladney, hard-hitting corner, can help out in the run game, willing tackler, lots of like there. And by the way, the Vikings had like an insane amount of picks, so I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just maybe do like the fourth, or go to the fourth round because they really did good top to bottom. And then Ezra Cleveland, they got in the second round. That with the 26th pick of round 2. I thought this is a great pick. He was a guy that was generating some first round buzz late in the draft process, ended up slipping to the later part of round 2, but still I think this is an outstanding pick. Continue to build up that offensive line. We saw them get Garrett Bradbury last year. He's been doing good now. Add Cleveland in there. I like what they're building there. And then another solid pick in the secondary, Cameron Dantzler, all the way to the middle, almost towards the bottom half of the third round, I guess, because round 3, pick 25, to get Cameron Dantzler out of Mississippi State. I had a late second round grade on him, so I think this is a little bit of a steal. Again, upgrading that secondary is key. And then they got, I really liked their fourth round picks. They got DJ Wanham, defensive end out of South Carolina, good pick there. James Lynch, the defensive tackle out of Baylor, surprised he fell to the fourth round. I think he'll be an instant upgrade on that defensive front.
And
then the last pick I'm going to highlight is Troy Dye, the linebacker out of Oregon. I think that the Vikings just killed it all the way around, got some steals, filled their needs, and remember, this was a playoff team last year, so they should be back there this year, especially after this solid draft class.
Yeah, what I was going to say before, I was going to talk about James Lynch. I believe he was a defensive end in college, so I think they might be moving him to tackle, which would be interesting to figure out. And then if you couldn't hear the last one when I was talking, it's Troy Dye. I also like Dye. And then another guy I just want to mention for the Vikings is round 7, pick 30. It's Nate Stanley. He'll be playing this year because
watch out, Kirk Cousins
sucks.
Well, they just paid Kirk Cousins, so I don't think
I know.
they're
I'm just messing around, but hey, never hurt the QB in the room. Get some young blood. I'm for it, especially when you have like 8,000 picks. Why not?
Yeah, I was glad to see him drafted. A couple unlikely quarterbacks were drafted towards the end of the draft, but it was good to see a more familiar name from the Iowa Hawkeyes go to the Vikings.
He's been so good there for a long time, so he was liked in that area of Iowa.
Yes. Well, now hopefully he's liked in the area of Minnesota. But now we're going to go to my favorite draft, and this is in large part to one pick specifically.
Yeah.
But as I've continued to look over their whole draft, I've continued to like what they did with all their picks, and I'm going to go through it pretty briefly here. I want to start off with the first pick. Obviously, that was Tristan Wirfs. They traded up to get him. What?
You didn't even say what team it was.
Oh, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
You probably got that when I said Tristan Wirfs because they traded up one pick to get him. Didn't want to take a chance. And I like that move. I know they're giving up picks, but they didn't know what the 49ers were going to do. I don't know if the 49ers knew what they were going to do in that situation. They didn't want to take a chance. Go get your offensive tackle, protect Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. And then this is the pick that really gets me, man. The player that went at pick number 45 was a top 15 player to me, and that's Antoine Winfield Jr. Out of Minnesota, one of 2 Golden Gophers we will see them draft. I really liked everything on tape from him. I've talked about him countless times on this channel. I'm not going to do it again. It just gets kind of repetitive. But to me, this was probably my favorite pick of the draft and my least favorite pick of the draft because I wanted the Bears to get him, but they took him from us. So congratulations to them for getting Winfield. I'll go a little quicker. Now, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt in the 3rd round. I like that. They do need to get some running back help. They drafted another one later on, which I'll talk about. And then the second Golden Gopher I was talking about was Tyler Johnson. They're trying to continue to build up that wide receiver core. This is a guy in the later rounds why not? This is a guy in the later rounds that I think can contribute, maybe not right away, but give him time.
He'll be running a lot of slants for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's going to probably fill the void Perriman left, so I like that pick too.
Yeah. And then, round 6 was Khalil Davis. I like that pick as well. Always nice to see some Auburn guys going off the board. I like to see that. And then Chappelle Russell in the 7th round. This was a good pick in the 7th round. Pick 241 to be exact. They have Devin White at the linebacker position, but this is a guy that maybe can sit behind him if he ends up making the team, and I would say gets in probably special teams. He's got pretty quick, but also could make an impact on scrimmage plays on defense. And then the last pick they had was Raymond Calais out of Louisiana. Went at another running back, and I love that idea of getting 2 running backs because they need it. They didn't know if Keyshawn Vaughn was going to be the answer for sure. Get another guy in there, Raymond Calais. One of them is going to work out for you. You can find running backs anywhere. So as a whole, I really like this draft from the Buccaneers, and they were my favorite one.
Yeah. They really excelled in a lot of areas. You know, you could say that Tristan Wirfs trade up was unnecessary. But, you know, they with one of the big 4 offensive tackles, and I've said this before, falling that far, you don't even want to risk it. And their team, Tampa, that's in win-now mode, especially after the big names they've acquired this offseason. And then the second-round pick, I think Winfield, he was, 20th on my board, so getting him at 45 when I had a first-round grade on him. I think the safeties in general, that whole safety class, I think they fell further than I expected. But, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tampa's first 2 picks in their whole class in general.
Yeah. And then I just want to mention 2 other teams. I won't go into great detail. I'll just mention a few names. It's the Bengals and the Ravens. So the Bengals had the first pick. They went Joe Burrow, which we all expected. But then T. Higgins fell to them for the first pick of the second round, pick 33. So that was a great steal for them. I think T. Higgins was a first-round talent. And this is another guy in the third round I don't know much about, but I know the 2 of them like is Logan Wilson, the linebacker out of Wyoming.
Great.
So another good pick.
They got 2 really good linebackers for where they got them in the 3rd and 4th round.
And I'm not going to go into later ones because we're running somewhat out of time, so I'll go to the Ravens. In the first round, they just waited as Patrick Queen slipped to them. They got a great linebacker in a spot where a lot of people thought he might have gone earlier. Then pick 2, round 2, pick 55, they got J.K. Dobbins, who fell all the way to them. Don't necessarily need another running back, but hey, put another guy in the backfield with Mark Ingram.
I mean, their team is run on physicality. Why not add more to that in the backfield?
It's just the run game.
And I'm sure they didn't expect him to fall, so they hopped on the opportunity.
Yeah. Speaking of fall, I think this is another guy that fell. Justin Madubuike out of Texas A&M fell to them at pick 71. This is a guy that I really liked. I thought he should have gone earlier. He fell to them. Then they got Devin Duvernay, which is another great pick out of Texas. He was a great receiver there. And then I'm just going to mention my last pick because I like this one. Round 7, pick 219, Geno Stone. I really liked him out of Iowa, the safety.
That was a steal.
And then in between there, too, there was some other great picks as well. Not going to go into as much detail on it, but those are just some of the teams that got the honorable mention in this video.
I got one more honorable mention as well. This team didn't have a first-round pick, but technically you could say it was DeForest Buckner because that's who they got in the trade, and that's the Colts. That's who I'm talking about. So that DeForest Buckner is basically their first-round pick. They're paying him more than they would a rookie, obviously. But it's the second round where it really is interesting, and I love it a lot. They went a little bit aggressive getting Michael Pittman when there was some other receivers on the board, but you could definitely see some traits in him that they would want to get him early. He was rising on a lot of people's draft boards. I'm sure they really liked him. There was a lot to like about him. I think that was a great pick. And then another of my favorite picks of the entire draft is Jonathan Taylor. I think he was the best running back in this draft, and they were able to add him to the backfield. And you could say, well, they had Marlon Mack. He ran for over 1,000 yards last year, but that doesn't really matter because if you watch the film, Marlon Mack is not a bell cow running back, as you can say. A guy that can take every single carry and get as many yards as you could possibly get. There's yards to be left on the field, and that's when you put in a guy like Jonathan Taylor, who showed a lot of the bell cow mentality in college.
Yeah, and the more I think about that Jonathan Taylor pick, the more I love it. Well, it depends how you interpret it, but the more I like the fit for the Colts. Behind that offensive line in that system, best running back in the draft, in my opinion. They traded up for him. I thought that was a good move. Colts did well also.
All right, I believe that was it. We just wanted to mention a couple of the top teams in the draft. So congratulations to those teams and other teams that end up having a good draft that we didn't talk about. But thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. And with that, we will see you guys later.
See ya.